Welcome to the regular meeting of the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Central Elgin. It is Monday, September 23rd. We're here in the Council Chamber, as well as those we welcome who are joining us online. May I ask those in the chamber to stand as we sing the national anthem, please?
With love, with God's faith, a true Lord strong and free. Round the pond, wide open, we stand on God for thee.
Thank you. The municipality of Central Elgin acknowledges that it is located on the land of the McKee Treaty that was signed by the Wyandot and by Anishinaabe nations, including ancestors of Chippewas of the Thames First Nation. It is also the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Attawandaronk, and Mississauga Nation. These First Nations continue to provide ongoing stewardship of the land and waters in the municipality of Central Elgin. Council, does anyone have a disclosure of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, if I could get a mover and a seconder for the adoption of the minutes from the previous meetings, Councillor Connors, Deputy Mayor Noble.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Connors, seconded by Deputy Mayor Noble, that the minutes for the regular meeting of council dated September 9th, 2024 be adopted.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Thank you. Our first report from Central Elgin Planning Office. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Griffin, Councillor Watson. Thank you both.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Griffin, seconded by Councillor Watson, that report CEP 3124 regarding consent application E8524 be received for information, and that consent application E8524 be approved subject to the conditions as outlined, and that such support be provided to the County of Elgin's Land Division Committee for consideration.
Questions or comments from council? You're okay with that, Mr. McClure?
Yes, it's simply a lot boundary adjustment between the two property owners.
Perfect, relatively straightforward. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Chief Administrative Officer, if I could get a mover and a seconder for CAO 1424, please. Councillor Bachman and the Deputy Mayor. Thank you.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Bachman, seconded by Deputy Mayor Noble, that the CAO be authorized to engage consulting services for the delivery of a business planning process review to assess the pressures and priorities within the municipality.
Thank you. Questions or comments from council? Seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Thank you. If I get a mover and a seconder for CAO 1724, the council schedule amendment. Deputy Mayor, Councillor Connors, thank you.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Deputy Mayor Noble, seconded by Councillor Connors, that the 2024 Municipality of Central Elgin Council schedule be amended to remove the regular meeting scheduled for the second Monday of every month in October and November 2024, with those dates to be reserved for committee meetings and council workshops to be scheduled at the discretion of the CAO in consultation with the mayor, and notice be provided in accordance with the procedural bylaw, and that the December 9th council meeting be rescheduled to December 16th, 2024.
Comments or questions? Very good. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Thank you. CO 1824, if I get a mover and a seconder, Councillor Griffin and Councillor Connors. Thank you.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Griffin, seconded by Councillor Connors, that the municipality of Central Elgin adopt a line fences bylaw that exempts the entirety of the municipality from the Line Fences Act and assigns the cost of line fences between owners.
Questions or comments from council? All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Thank you. Quarterly building report, if I could get a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Connors, Deputy Mayor, thank you both.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Connors, seconded by Deputy Mayor Noble, that report ICS 4724 regarding quarterly building report be received for information.
All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. ICS 4824 quarterly bylaw report, mover and a seconder. Councillor Watson, thank you. Councillor Bachman, thank you.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Watson, seconded by Councillor Bogman, that report ICS 4824 regarding quarterly bylaw report be received for information.
All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. ICS 5124 Kokomo Park cost sharing agreement. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Griffin, thank you. Deputy Mayor Noble, thank you.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Griffin, seconded by Deputy Mayor Noble, that the mayor and clerk be authorized to enter into a cost-sharing agreement with Westel Developments for the construction of Kokomo Park, that the 2024 budget allocation of $700,000 from development charges be utilized to fund Central Elgin's share of the project cost as outlined in staff report ICS 2524.
All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Green and Inclusive Community Buildings GICB grant funding. Mover and a seconder, please. Deputy Mayor, thank you. Councillor Griffin, thank you.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Deputy Mayor Noble, seconded by Councillor Griffin, that staff be authorized to submit an application for the Green and Inclusive Community Buildings grant to support up to 80% of costs of critical upgrades at the Port Stanley and Belmont arenas.
Questions or comments from council? All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Director of Financial Services Treasurer, DFS 1824. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Bachman, thank you. Councillor Connors, thank you.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Bogman, seconded by Councillor Connors, that staff be directed to proceed with the vesting of the vacant properties with the roll numbers as outlined, that the property tax write-offs of $5,408.38 for the roll numbers as outlined be approved in accordance with Section 354(2)A and 354(3) of the Municipal Act, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the required documentation to complete the vesting process.
Questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Director of Fire Services, FS 1624, replacement of Rescue 43 pumper tanker, and pumper tanker 32 update. Mover and a seconder for discussion. Councillor Bachman, Councillor Griffin, thank you.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Bogman, seconded by Councillor Griffin, that option 1, as outlined in staff report FS 1624, be approved to replace Rescue 43 and Pumper Tanker 32.
Questions and or comments? Councillor Graham, please.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the rest of council. So in speaking with our chief, what I would like to propose is that we move forward with the 2-year refurbishment of the tanker, the pumper tanker at the 17,000 and go forward with the Belmont rescue. This way, with the fire reserves at the $2 million, we'll be able to use some of that interest and some of the other interest over the course of the next 2 years to look at replacement of the Yarmouth pumper tanker, and no other trucks are scheduled to be purchased until 2029. So basically, instead of having 2 trucks purchased this year, we're doing, well, really approval now for 2026. We would be doing 1 in 2026 and 1 in 2028. And then in 2029, the 3rd truck. So it kind of spreads it out over time. It allows some additional interest on some of the money we have in reserves to help with the purchases of those.
Thank you. Are you suggesting an amendment to go to option 2, or how do you want to go forward?
Yes, the purchase of Rescue 43 and refurbishment of pumper tanker 32.
Okay. Did you
Option
want
2.
option 2? Did you wish to speak, Councillor Griffin? Sorry. Oh, sorry. You need a seconder first.
Is there a seconder for option 2? To amend it to option 2?
So councillor's asking to have an amendment so that it would be a purchase of a new truck for Belmont and a refurbishment for the pumper tanker 32. Is there a seconder for that amendment? Councillor Connors. Councillor
Sure, I
Connors.
suppose it's the same whether I speak to the amendment or the original as far as this point goes, but I don't really support amending this. I mean, you're talking about spreading the costs of trucks out over the course of several years when we've also talked about how by procuring more than one vehicle at once, you can save money on those vehicles. And we have 2 vehicles here that need replacing. We would be better to replace 2 at once than to spread them out and procure them all separately, especially given that one of these vehicles will only benefit for about another 2 more years by refurbishment. So we'd be following bad money with good and reducing our ability to multi-vehicle procure.
Thank you. Do any other questions for any of the councillors? We have an amendment on the floor before we vote on the amendment. Do you have any other questions or comments for the original or the amended? Okay, Councillor Watson, sir.
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor. What's the new truck 43 going to cost? Because if we keep it on the road for 2 more years, that's only $8,500 a year. So I would just want to know for the constituents.
Thank you. Chief, do you want to take that one for me?
To you, Mayor Sloan, to Councillor Watson. It's difficult to give you a true figure. The figures that we were giving when we were originally looking at a truck was somewhere around $800,000. That was with us going out and purchasing it on our own.
Thank you. Other questions or comments from the council? Councillor Bachman, please.
In response to the condition of these vehicles, I'm cautious about this, putting stuff off. We're putting what I would consider our citizens at risk by putting refurbishments, and these are 25-year-old vehicles.
Sorry, the
These-
refurbished one is 20. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, okay. But even so, that's 2 years, 22, and then it takes 2 years to order it, so it'll be 24 years by the time we actually get it replaced. I'd recommend, as our staff has, that we don't put any of our residents at risk, having equipment that is of an age that is not conducive to being at the utmost security of our residents.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? I have an amendment on the floor. Councillor Watson, please.
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor, to Fire Chief Omerod. When Councillor Graham started, she said she had talked to you. So would that be your wishes as well, option 2?
Just to go here, there's a report from staff that the chief has suggested option 1. Is that correct, Chief?
As you'll note, the staff have continued to recommend option 1 of replacing both vehicles at this point in time. The request was for staff to do further research and provide additional information.
Thank you. So the amendment is that the Yarmouth truck, which is 20 years old, would be refurbished. The costs are in the report. It would get another 2 years of its lifespan. And the Belmont truck would be a new vehicle, as had been suggested. That's the amendment that's on the table. Is that fair, Councillor Graham? Any other questions or comments? Let's vote on the amendment, please. The amendment as proposed by Councillor Graham, which is option 2, purchasing a new vehicle and refurbishing. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, just making sure. Other business? Anyone have any other business? Councillor Griffin, did you wish to say something? Okay. A welcome here, and just before we go into closed, is that the last thing before closed? A warm welcome to our Carla Leach, our new head of HR, who's in the gallery this evening. Should also point out, because I don't know if the camera just shows the back, the heads of our other staffers that are here. We see our CAO, Carrie, Miss Hurd. We have the fire chief here. We have Kevin McClure, who's our planner. We have our head of infrastructure, Jeff Brooks, and we have Neil Conselman, who's the acting treasurer, as well as Miss Leach is here. So we always appreciate the staff compliment and you coming to support us. So welcome, Carla, and thanks everyone else for your engagement. If I could get a mover and a seconder to go into closed, please. Councillor Connors, Deputy Mayor, thank you.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Connors, seconded by Deputy Mayor Noble, the council proceed into closed session at 7:16 p.m. in order to address a matter pertaining to personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal employees, a proposed acquisition or disposition of land by a municipality, labor relations, and a position plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality.
All those in favor? Opposed? And we're going into close. Thank you.